Really?
We're live.
We're live. Coming at you from Skull Funk Studios in the Midwest and Crunk Boy Studios, Inkpulp in Atlanta, GA, and also Haggis Studios, Haggis Incorporated out of Scotland.
Did you call it Haggis?
Haggis. And joining us later, one of our homies from Los Angeles, California, representing all coasts, all people, Inkpulp Live, Sean Crystal.
What's up? And jimmahfood. Hey, I see 9 monkeys in the house. What up?
9 monkeys. What up? Ryan, did you get that original art I mailed you? I got the gorgeous Savage Street Vigilante piece you sent me, and
yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Sent you something. Jim just got kicked out of Scotland preemptively. That's true, Dave. West Coast Dave in the house. That is true. That's definitely
we got
true.
Panos, your Greek buddy, Panos.
Panos, thank you for joining us. We realize it's 4 a.m. your time.
Damn.
That's a commitment.
Jonathan Lopez. Wait, hold on real quick. Jonathan Lopez, I want to know, DM me if you've been listening to the new Jim Jones, because it's pretty damn fire. Okay, Jim, go ahead.
Okay. Really not yet. Holy shit. Thanks from Ryan. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Let me get into pimping some shit, and then because we have a full show of drawing and kicking it. Guys, Jonas Goonface, who the legendary John Greener from Wheelchair Riot, Shiner Comics on Instagram. You all know him and love him. You probably can't see that.
Mm-hmm.
He was in town this weekend. He turned me on to Jonas's work. He's putting out this anthology of different people writing stories for him, and he's drawing a bunch of this stuff. But this dude Jonas is awesome.
Oh, that
illustrator,
really
colorist.
Good.
If you keep scrolling, Jamie, this panel coming up or keep going, please. Oh shoot, where is it? Well, I mean, we can just look at look at these patches and everything. His stuff is great.
Those are cool. Oh, damn.
Guys, they can't see the screen record again. I don't know.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Can you guys see?
We forgot.
Let me check.
Can you guys see it now? Can you guys see the screen now?
No, they cannot see the screen still.
God damn it.
Let me try and start the screen record again. Sorry, guys.
All good?
Dude, we need to move to Riverside. I hope, it's just, I've had enough of this.
Let me see if this is working.
All right. Can you guys see it now?
That's working. I can see it now. There we go.
Okay, cool.
So let's start from the top.
Are you guys are seeing this, correct? Okay, works now. Okay, cool.
All right, Jamie, you know what I think it is? I have an idea. When you start the screen share before the show, you have to restart it when the show goes live. That's my guess. But anyways,
that time I had to switch from window to screen, but we'll see.
Okay.
We shall see.
Starting over, rewinding, Unsinkable Ship of Fools Kickstarter by our boy Jonas Goonface. Jamie, if you could just scroll through this real quick. But like I said, my buddy John Greener, John G, I'm sure most of you guys know him. He does Wheelchair Riot, this incredible Frankenstein comic book. Check him out. Shiner Comics on IG. And let me give out what's his website.
What was he in town for, Jim?
Dude, he's doing Van Quest 2025, where he's driving from Cleveland to the West Coast.
Doing like a book tour?
Yeah, he's doing a residency out in California.
Nice.
But he's stopping along the way at different homies places that comics people he knows. So yeah, this page with the dude getting on the train, that's the one John wrote. But these are all drawn by this brilliant cartoonist Jonas Goonface, whose stuff
is Jonas coloring this?
Yeah, the coloring is incredible.
Colors are incredible.
Yeah. So
I mean, the
this
art's
ends,
beautiful.
Jamie, can you scroll up? This ends like tomorrow, I believe.
Oh shit! I want to get
It's
in
got
on this.
28
It's
hours to go.
incredible.
So let's bump Jonas up into the stratosphere because this
Yeah.
kid is a legit artist and cartoonist.
Yeah, this is mad fire. 1,500 backers. That's great. Let's get that up.
Yeah. And then the next one, man, Gorehouse. This is from Thomas Sluzalek. He sent me issue 1 in the mail, and I flipped out on how awesome it was. And the Kickstarter for issue 2 just launched. So
This looks
you
amazing.
guys can go to this Kickstarter and you can still get issue 1 along with issue 2.
Damn, dude,
But man,
is-
this kid, it's so incredible and over the top. I was
gorgeous.
blown away by looking at the book. It's really badass stuff, man. Definitely support his stuff. But look at this cover, dude. Look at that cover for issue 2.
Yeah, that's incredible. Dude, the sword is a monster. That's amazing. Oh
It's
shit!
incredible, man.
Look at that! Look at that! That's awesome.
Yeah. Little Incredible Hulk cover parody.
Nice.
Jamie, can you give me the screen real quick? If possible. So this is issue 1. And man, this dude is just fully going for it.
Mm.
Look at this work.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
This kid, it's like his girlfriend gets kidnapped, and then this bug convinces him the bug can give him power, and so it like squirts its juices in his mouth. Look at this cartooning, man.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
And then, dude, the bug
cool.
drills into his face and creates the metal mask and turns him into this avenging monster. It's so good, man. And I don't know if you noticed, but he's got part of Freddy Krueger's
yeah.
gauntlet and then Jason. So it's like Jason fused with Freddy Krueger. It's really, really great stuff.
Tattooed on him. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So definitely support Thomas's Kickstarter.
Nice.
I just put both of those links in the chat. So if anyone wants to check those out, the links are there.
Thanks, man. And then what else did I have?
That was it. Just those 2.
Okay. Oh, let me do let me switch my camera again real quick. I just wanted to pimp this as well. I just got the printer's proof of Ballpoint Slayer Volume 2.
Hell yeah.
This will be on my website in a couple weeks for sale, you guys. This is 48 pages
damn, dude.
of new ballpoint drawings.
That's
and I printed out. Printed out great.
Oh, printed
Those
incredible.
look sick, man.
Sleek Uzi Patrol. And dude, look,
Thomas
Spidey's
is in
big
the chat.
package. Oh, Thomas is here.
Nice.
Thomas, you rock, dude.
Thomas. Dude, you're killing it, Thomas. It's beautiful.
Thomas, you fucking rock, dude. Thank you for sending me the book. And, you know, for all you guys out there sending stuff to the P.O. box, I really appreciate it. If I can ask an extra favor, it would be, could you pop in 2 copies of every book so Sean can get one? Because Sean's coming out here in like a couple weeks, and we're going to be fighting over
That's true.
the stack of comic books that I've been sent. So I feel like a dick for asking, but
yeah, I was going to ask that, but then I felt weird about it, but I'm glad you did. If it's not a problem, guys, we're happy to receive 1 copy. I mean, we're very happy for that, but if you can, sure.
You get an original drawing on the back cover of each one of these guys.
Yeah. And what's the price on those bad boys?
This is $40 with the book and the original drawing shipped to you. Ballpoint Slayer coming soon.
Crazy value.
Sean, what do you got?
Okay, guys. All right, we got to talk, Inkpulp community. All this time, I've been building a lot of things. All this time, we've been hanging out on camera. All this time, I've been podcasting. I've been building. And now the two big things are out. The first one. So I need you guys to spread the word, to get involved, to support, please. The first one is Jake Parker and I are launching our 10-week course on creating comics. And that's what you're seeing. It's through Jake's school, the School of Visual Storytelling. And we've been building this class for the past year and a half, I'd say. I've written 10 weeks worth of lectures, collected images, and all this stuff. Jake's done the same, and together we're teaching this together, and it's going to be everything. We're covering everything from nothing to now all of a sudden you have a finished comic. Everything from conceiving an idea. Jake has an amazing worksheet for getting your idea from like just a weird thing in your head to a idea for a story. He's got this worksheet. You just fill it out, and in the act of filling it out, it just starts to pour out of you. It's incredible. Nice. So we're going to go just from that. We cover all ends of publishing, self-publishing, approaching book publishers, everything. It's all in here. This is the class. Don't spend your money on 4 years of art school. I think all you need is this 10 weeks.
We're going to talk about art school because Bob Fingerman's our guest and he went to SVA, and I want to ask him about that.
I want to hear about that too. Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, guys, so we just opened this up today. The link is in the description. You can go read about it. Registration is open. The class launches on May 1st. So there you can see us. Jake and I have been filming all of our lectures, and every week there's a live Zoom session with the class. So any like direct questions you need answered, we will have FaceTime every week. Actually, Jamie, play the commercial. Jake's got a good little commercial for that.
Hey, what's going on? I have an announcement I got to make. Something I want to share with you guys that I've been working on behind the scenes. Graphic Novel Pro. Okay, this class is everything you need to know about how to make comics, how to make graphic novels. I am teaching it with industry veteran Sean Crystal. Look how cool he is, right? Some examples of some of his work and things that he's done. But this is going to show you everything you need to know about comics, about breaking into the industry, about how to make your pages so they read well. We're going to have like the full guidebook that comes with it. And this list, 10 weeks long of videos that we're going to drop each week to meet with you. We're going to meet with you each week in a live like Zoom setting or live stream setting, so you can ask any question if you're ever confused about anything. So do check it out. Link right here.
Nice.
All right, guys, and Jake will be a guest on the show in a few weeks. So
yeah,
we'll be talking.
Jake Parker is no joke. That dude does not fuck around. Like, he knows his shit, and you know your shit too. So this is going to be a legit class.
Yeah, it's a murder. I'm going to tell you, this is so exciting because I posted about it today, and the first person to leave a comment was Scott Morse, and his comment was, "Hey, if you need a guest speaker, I'd love to come on." So, dude,
shit. Well,
the pros are wanting to get involved, so come on by.
Yes.
All right. Now is another big thing I've been building on, and this one I really need your support and help with. Jamie, boom. My new art book Kickstarter pre-launch page is up. So the Kickstarters for my art book, scroll down a little bit. Keep going.
Dr. Pulpenstein, there he is.
Yeah, we're going to get to Dr. Pulpens. Keep going, Jamie. I want to get down to the art book, not the sketchbook. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is Inkpulp Cyan. So this is an art book. It's going to be a 140-page hardcover. It's going to be a thick little baby, but it's about the craft. You can see there with that Dune piece, there's my thumbnails and there's my final. Some pieces are thumbnails, pencils, inks, and colors. Some are just thumbnails and inks, like all different stages. And I talk about my thought process throughout all of them. So this book isn't just a book that says like, hey, here's my artwork, but this is a dive into my mind and my creative process. So for craft lovers, this is going to be essential. And there's a whole chapter on the tools I use, why I use them, and all kinds of cool stuff. This is a very unique art book, and I think it's going to set the standard for art books to come. Now, scroll up, Jamie, to the magenta. I also have a new sketchbook, Inkpulp Magenta. Now, this baby is free for anyone who signs up for
free, Sean? What free? What? How does this work?
Exactly. Jim, you've spoken to Dr. Pulpenstein. You know
how does this work? Well, I'm replaying that character.
I know.
How does this tell us more?
So, guys, let me explain. All you got to do is sign up right there. It says notify me on launch. Hit that button and then pledge at any level. And I'm going to be emailing PDFs of the of my new sketchbook, Inkpulp Magenta, to everyone who does that for free. Now, this is a collection of my thumbnails and sketches. It's not my art book at all. It's not even close. There is no repeating images in either of these. And if you scroll up a little bit, Jamie, and right here is Dr. Pulpenstein. Dr. Pulpenstein is the reason I'm doing all this. Jim and I have been talking about this, and I've been talking to you guys about this. Our craft is suffering these days, and this is the antidote. So Dr. Pulpenstein has instructed me to give away the sketchbook for free, and then we'll launch the Kickstarter for the art book, which will be the full antidote. Comes in 2 doses. Get your first dose, get the sketchbook. Second dose, get the art book. So guys, what I'm going to do tonight is, as you can see, I have 145 followers right now. If we can get that up to 175 by the end of the show, I'm doing something special tonight. It's all blown out here, but we're doing Fritz the Cat. There you go.
Oh,
I'm going deep into craft tonight. I'm going to ink this in a R. Crumb style, not in my style. I'm not going to use a brush at all. I'm just using nibs tonight.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I will give away this card. We will have like an auction. Yeah, not an auction. What's it? We pick a name out of a hat. What's that called?
Oh, a draw.
Yeah,
just a raffle.
Okay. A raffle. There you go. So yeah, we'll have a raffle. If we can get my Kickstarter up to 175 followers by the end of the show, we will raffle off Fritz.
So if you're in the chat and you're a fan and you've already signed up for the pre-launch, get your sister or your homeboy or your Uncle Chad or Grandma Tilly, who's sitting in the next room. Get them.
Wait, what about Grandma Hazel? You mentioned Grandma Tilly.
Grandma Hazel, whoever's around. Tell them to put down the whiskey, get on their phone, go to the web store, the websites, the interwebs, and hit the pre-launch for Sean's pre-launch page.
And then our first question of the night is, Jim just referenced Grandma Tilly and I referenced Grandma Hazel. Can you tell us what that reference is from? All right, let's get busy.
Are we ready to bring on?
Let's bring him in.
Independent artist, troubadour, Bob Fingerman is with us. Bob, get in here, please.
What's up, Bob?
Hell yeah.
Welcome, Bob.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. I have my boudoir voice now because we're here.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too.
Hey, Bob.
Some of those plugs looked very tasty. I have to say, you're very persuasive salesman. While I was sitting there in the back room, the green room, not eating fruit, I ordered Iron Circus Comics, Unsinkable Ship of Fools. So, see, you guys made a sale. You need to get a commission.
Hey, we're here to promote good shit, man.
If you're gonna do that, I'm gonna plug myself. Unless
I was gonna
terribly gauche.
I've got the Printopia right here, which tonight, Bob, I'm doing a piece. I think we agreed on trading some artwork tonight. So I'm doing Fritz the Cat kidnapping Darla from your brilliant book, Printopia.
Okay. That's nice. Very on brand for him.
That's what I have penciled out. But this is from our buddy Eli at Cosmic Lion Productions. So, Bob, can people score this online, like at the Cosmic Lion shop?
Oh, yeah. They can order it. They can order it directly from Cosmic Lion Productions, or they can just go to Amazon. Everybody, not that I want to be directing traffic there, especially these days.
Yeah.
But
I
if
know.
people want convenience, if they're going to be buying their new shower curtains and so forth, and they want to throw in a book, they may as well. But yeah, definitely go over to Cosmic Lion Productions and check out many of Eli's fine offerings.
Look at that. Jamie's got the link in the chat. Thank you, Jamie.
That's
And
lovely.
Bob, just because this is a super nerdy show, before we go further, could we just talk real quick about the original art again behind you?
Oh, yeah.
You got a Dan Klaus original there, and then can you guide us through the rest?
Yeah. So that's a Dan Klaus page back when such things were affordable. I bought that direct from Dan, I don't know, decades ago, whenever it was. So yeah, that's why I have that beauty. And next to it is a Peter Bagg page, so directly above my head. Goon on the Moon, which I love. Dan and Pete are both guys who I think did such funny stuff, and Dan got real serious. His stuff is still great, but I wish it's like the aliens in Woody Allen's Stardust Memories when they say, "We like your older funny stuff." I feel like one of those Philistines where it's like, okay, your new stuff is great, but come on, be funny again. The world needs a chuckle.
Yes.
And then, see, I can't do the mirror thing. This stuff, there we go. Those are Charles Rodriguez, who was a cartoonist for National Lampoon, although he did tons of other stuff. And Kleban, who's best known for his cats, the Kleban cats. But he's one of my lifetime heroes. His books, Never Eat Anything Bigger Than Your Head and Whack Your Porcupine. Some of the most brilliant cartooning ever done.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
So, yep.
I'm always.
And then there's other stuff in here off camera.
Yeah.
So
for me, it's like the original art that artists have and collect or trade or whatever. That always catches my eye of like, what do you got? Like, I want to see what everybody and what people decide to display like in their studio, or like, because if you're displaying it, it means something. You're going to see it every day. So I have like my select pieces that mean something to me that have been, some of them have been with me for over a decade or whatever, or trades with friends, but I just love seeing what people have. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's, anytime you visit a house and they don't have anything on their walls and they don't have any books, it's always kind of like, ooh.
It's weird.
I got to get out of here.
It's weird. What's that thing John Waters once said? Like,
oh yeah. If you go into
ever fuck someone that
fuck them, yeah.
If they don't have a bookcase, like just don't hang out there.
Don't fuck them. I believe it's his whole and he's right. He's absolutely right.
It's funny.
John Waters, the national treasure.
We love him. I'm gonna switch over and start inking if that's cool.
Yeah, well, I can join the boom.
Hell yeah, man. Look at that. That's a very roughly penciled monstrous Fritz the Cat with Darla.
Oh wow. Damn, Jim. That looks badass.
While you guys are all getting set up, by the way, quick plug for West Coast Avengers and his podcast Direct Edition. Sean was a guest on this week.
Oh hell yeah, guys!
Yes.
That was a great. That was one of my favorite podcast appearances I've ever done. Dave is so good. We had a really good time and a good talk.
Nice. I need to check that one out. I'll watch that tonight after our show.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a good episode. I'll listen today.
Bob, real quick, while it's still fresh in my mind, what was your School of Visual Arts experience like?
Well, did you go there, or are you just Were you just asking for a friend?
I'm asking for a friend. I went to art school in the 90s here in Kansas City, and I'm always curious about other artists' art school experiences.
Yeah, especially SVA with their like pedigree of like teachers and stuff. I'm very curious too.
Yeah, well, since I'm, your resident senior citizen here, I go back. The reason I chose SVA was because Harvey Kurtzman and Will Eisner were instructing there. I just missed out on Art Spiegelman because I think he went on sabbatical to go work on a little thing called Mouse. So,
Wow. Wait,
so,
did
yeah,
you have
so-
Harvey? Harvey wasn't your teacher, was he?
yes, he was.
Oh my
Wow.
God, I
Harvey-
gotta hear about this. He's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I fully endorse the postulation that all modern humor really can be traced back to Harvey Kurtzman, because really, without Mad,
Yeah.
you don't have Saturday Night Live, you don't have National Lampoon, you don't even have Monty Python, because Kurtzman is how Terry Gilliam and John Cleese met. So,
Wow.
Kurtzman, like if you did a flow chart, like all roads lead back to Rome in the old saying, all humor leads back to Harvey. So yeah, so I didn't even read the course description when I saw that he was a teacher there, because it was just like, oh well, if he's there, I'm going there. I had already
Sure.
gone to an art high school. I went to the High School of Art and Design, which by coincidence is where Art Spiegelman had gone many years earlier, and I think Ralph Bakshi was actually
Oh wow.
an alumni of Art and Design. So anyway, so yeah, the first year at SVA was kind of my angry young man year, where I was very uncharacteristically getting thrown out of classrooms and for being too lippy and stuff like that.
Oh shit.
Because I was just like, oh well, this isn't high school, this isn't free, we're paying for this, and these classes are kind of shitty except for life drawing. So I made a lot of teachers very unhappy. I'm not proud of it, but
Right.
we all go through a phase, I guess. That was mine. But when I got to the second year and got to go into my major, which is when I got Kurtzman and Eisner, my attitude completely readjusted, because it was like, okay, now I'm here with these giants. So
Wow.
Shit, man. What a double whammy. Kurtzman
know.
and Will Eisner. Like what?
I mean, for me, whenever I taught, I was like, these are the two most potent influences on me and the medium.
yeah, it was, well, the thing that was interesting, and anybody out there watching has heard me tell this before. Apologies. I only lived one life. But the weird thing is, Kurtzman's class was really uninspiring. I hate to say it, but
Wow.
it was one of these things where I liked him very much. He was great, really nice human being. He was very personable. But here's the weird thing. The reason I say I didn't read the course description was, you've got this guy who's one of the master sequential storytellers of all time.
Yes, absolutely.
Inventive. He came up with stuff nobody had ever done before, and he wasn't teaching sequential art.
Oh,
That's what I didn't realize. The world was a different place, because back then it was like, well, we've got Eisner teaching sequential art, we don't need two teachers teaching that. So Kurtzman was teaching gag panels, like single panel gags, which was weird because he didn't do that, but he was teaching it. And this is where, as a 19-year-old with some attitude and all that, I was like, ugh, this is not what I'm interested in. So I wasn't a great student, to be honest. But Harvey, this is where the story took a interesting turn that literally changed my life. I left the classroom, probably to go use the bathroom or whatever. And I had left my sketchbook on my table. And Harvey, this was probably midway through the year. Harvey, when I came back, was going through it. He was just paging through my sketchbook. Right. And when I walked into the room, Harvey said to me, Fingerman, we need to talk. And so we went out in the hall, and what he said was, I didn't know you could draw. Which was pretty rough, because it was like, oh boy, I've really been phoning it in, I guess. But then, like on a dime, it went from me basically being a disappointing student to him hiring me. He said, how would you like to work for me?
Oh, wow.
And so I was kind of like, what? I'm listening. And he was putting together these paperback humor anthologies aimed at probably, tweens or whatever, younger readers. And it's I'm going to use a term that's become much maligned lately, but I would have been sort of the DEI hire in that he needed someone young. Like he had a lot of veteran comic artists contributing, but he wanted someone who was still in their teens to contribute to the book. And so because he looked at my sketchbook, thank goodness he was nosy, I kind of got quote unquote discovered. And yeah, so he gave me my first real professional work, just writing and drawing stories for these paperback anthologies. And I ended up doing 3 stories, which, is a pretty good amount of real estate to be in those books. And the interesting thing is, I was very kind of nonplussed by his course, but as an editor, he was great. All that stuff you've ever heard about Kurtzman being like a really, rigorous editor, where he would, go over everything, and he had his tissue overlays where he would put his notes on, do this, do that, make these lips fuller, make, that thing in the background. So I learned a ton from him, extracurricular. So not so much in the class. So it ended up being great, but in some ways, obviously it was exciting because it was all very hush hush, because he really was like adamant about, don't let any of the other students know about this, because then it's going to be like, oh, I'm playing favorites, or some like that.
Sure.
And so yeah, that also kind of made it exciting, where it was our own little thing, and we'd have sort of clandestine meetings, and it was great. So it was great.
Amazing.
The whole thing turned into,
amazing.
Yeah, just a phenomenal story. And so, yeah, that, and it gave me the confidence working for him to, begin just seeking other work and all that. So, yeah, so it was very good. So my experience, and of course, I did the logical thing. I dropped out of SBA at the end of that year, because I was like, okay, I'm working. I don't need to be going anymore. So there you go.
Damn, man. Okay, wow. That's a great art school.
Dude, that's amazing.
Story.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably the best one I've heard. I'd love to hear about Kurtzman any chance I get. That is incredible.
Well, and Bob, at that time, was he still, like sharp and coherent?
Yeah, nobody, he was a little frail seeming, but you don't, especially when you're 19 years old, anyone who's over 50 seems old anyway. So I just kind of chalked it up, and he was very, to be cliche, he was kind of a mild-mannered guy. So, none of us knew that he had Parkinson's yet. That all of that began to manifest later. The regret that I have is he was very, very open to having a, friendship out of class. It was like I had sort of a standing invitation to come visit him.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow. Yeah.
I really didn't do it because, like, when you're that young, and also if you're kind of wired on the insecure side, you're like, why would this legend want to hang out with me? So I didn't really do it. I only went over there a couple of times, and it was with other people, and but yeah, I didn't really take advantage of getting to know him as well as I could have, which is a shame. But at least I got to know him. At least I got to work for him. So
that's incredible.
That was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have Eisner as a teacher too?
I'm just realizing this whole time my camera's upside down. I don't know how to. Everyone's watching me draw upside down. This is awful. Apologies.
Yeah, I mean, we've had other artists that do the upside down style. Like it's
Well, I'm going to remedy that. Excuse the.
Yeah, all good, man.
This is all new to me. I'm a babe in Toyland. I'm sorry.
Oh, we barely know what we're doing most of the time. We have orange screens that people have to deal with, and it's all good, man.
I think this is marginally better. All right. At least it's upside up. So sorry, folks at home who are throwing up into their hats.
Oh, there you
Sean,
go.
Could I ask you, Sean, could you zoom out just a little bit? We're kind of maybe a little bit too.
Well, I'm trying to get on my lines. It's just, I'm there. I want people to see the linear magic.
That texture. So, Bob, when did you start doing your own did you start doing your own comics at that time? And were you involved with like zines and that kind of stuff in school, or was that after the fact?
Yeah, not really zines, because the other person, there was a lot going on in that my second and final year there. Because I also met a guy named Pete Friedrich, and Pete was really my gateway into a world of sort of, I won't say underground, but small press stuff that was very new. He was a former student of Eisner, and so he would come around Will's class looking for talent for a magazine he co-published called Pure Entertainment. And actually, it was like a collective of cartoonists. They went under the banner Look Mom Comics, and Klaus was one of that bunch, and a guy named Mort Todd, who ended up being my editor at Cracked Magazine when I was working for Cracked.
Nice.
It was this whole hive of, like literally a hive. This was in New York that doesn't exist anymore, because it was a New York where like just, starting comics people could afford as a group to all share a loft in Soho.
Right.
So there was this loft on Warren Street where a bunch of comics people were all living together. It was like this weird little rabbit warren of all these little cubbies that they all had like their beds and stuff. But some of the people in that group were Bob Camp, who ended up being big on like Ren and Stimpy and so forth.
Oh yeah.
And Vince Waller, who also was a Ren and Stimpy guy later. And Pat Redding, who I'm not sure what she's up to these days, but she was really good. There were all these people in this group, and they all put out like I say, these magazine size, kind of like the format of Love and Rockets.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, I kind of fell in with that group, and you know they were all a bit older than me, probably about 6-7 years older. So they kind of felt like mentors in a way. But that was, you know, it was exciting because it was, like I say, it was a New York that just does not exist anymore.
Right.
Oh sure. Yeah. Just
So
a
yeah, so
different era, man.
So
that's
Bob,
kinda how-
did you have Eisner for any classes?
yeah, Eisner was the sequential art guy. So I took him. Yeah, actually, I guess I was good enough that I did. The class did an annual publication called Will Eisner's Gallery. I feel like that guy who's talking about his old high school football glories.
No, we want to hear this stuff, man. We want to
No,
hear the
dude, this
history.
is history. This is
Yeah.
history.
It was so long ago, gentlemen. I mean, literally 40 years ago. More than 40 years ago. Jesus Christ. But they did an annual class magazine called Will Eisner's Gallery. And I did the cover for that year. And what was cool about that was it was a collaboration with Eisner. So I've got this original drawing of my, I will say, crude bunch of like skinhead punk kind of characters hanging outside a comic shop, and outside the comic shop is also the Spirit and
Oh wow.
whatever. It was a different world. Ebony, I think maybe is best left in the rearview mirror of history, but it is what it is. So,
You talking about
yeah,
Ebony magazine? Ebony
Yeah,
magazine?
that's what I mean. Ebony magazine.
Oh shit, that's hilarious.
No, not Ebony magazine. Ebony, the Spirit's sidekick, who I think I don't think Eisner was drawing it to be racially insensitive, but let's just say it doesn't hold up to the scrutiny of
Right.
modern times.
Right.
So, like I say, I mean, this is all where, like, is it coming from a malicious place or not? It wasn't, but it's still, it hasn't aged well.
Right.
But you know, Will had a completely different vibe than Harvey. He was much more. I don't know. He clearly had his way of teaching the class, and it was, you know, it was good. I mean, I learned a lot from both of them in very different ways. So the second year was good. No complaints.
Nice. Oh, we got Dean Haspiel Dino in the chat. Shout out to Dean. He says, shout out to my friend Bob Fingerman. Nice.
Well, shout out to Dean. Dean is a lovely gent.
We love him. And Dean will be on our show sooner than later.
In May, right? It's May. I was looking at the schedule today. I think it's May.
Yes. Yeah. Is that right, Dean? We'll figure it out. Yeah. All the East Coast dudes. We're having all the East Coast posse on the show at one point or another, Sean.
Yeah, you got it, dude. You got to get New York on the show. All of New York.
All of New York.
The barbarians are at the gate.
Yes. And then Bob, when, if you don't mind me still asking historical questions, like when did like your journey begin with doing like was minimum wage your first solo effort, or was there a lead up to?
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to go use my pencil sharpener, so I'm going to shout.
Oh, sure, sure.
But the first solo book I did, I kind of cut my teeth doing a bunch of, I did a bunch of stuff, a lot of stuff for Dark Horse back in the day. They were one of the first places I got a lot of work from, and I did a book for them. Well, I did. All right, we're putting our cards on the table here. See, jazz hands, card hands.
Nice.
I did a lot of what you could euphemistically call adult comics.
Yes.
To
I
pay
love
my
all that.
bills. New York, New York was probably the capital of men's magazine publishing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I worked for a lot of those magazines. Like basically when I was done working for Cracked, I ended up working for like High Times, and then High Times.
Oh, nice.
High Times was an appropriate gateway drug to adult
Yes.
publishing because my editor there was also a cartoonist, a guy named John Holmstrom, who is best known for being the guy who did all the art for the Ramones, the classic
Oh shit.
Ramones covers,
shit.
Rocket to Russia and all that.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
he was, he's still alive, and he's, alive and kicking, as they say. But he was a very good guy, very good editor, good guy to know. And he hooked me up with my first working for like adult magazines. Penthouse was starting a new men's magazine, as they called them, a spin-off of Penthouse called Penthouse Hot Talk. And so I ended up working for them for a while. I would do these very labor-intensive, fully painted comic strips. It was ridiculous. I mean, I was doing them more to teach myself to paint than, the crummy rates they were paying.
Right.
And also, I just wanted to show off. It's like, oh, you're going to have one page that looks good in the magazine. So they let me do whatever I wanted so long as it was dirty.
Right.
So that was fun because I got to do, subject matter that doesn't usually come up in men's magazine strips. Like I did one that was set during the bubonic plague, and, so things like that.
Nice.
As long as it had boobs in it, I could pretty much get away with whatever. So that was fun.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
But the reason I feel like I'm yammering too much.
No,
you're good.
No, this is gold. This is gold.
But it led to, at a certain point you do all these comic strips and you're like, okay, I've got an inventory, because I ended up working for all these other magazines like Cherie and High Society. Anyone who's a man of a certain age probably encountered all of these at some point.
I know Cherie. I know Cherie.
Yeah, when you said Cherie, I was like, wait, what is that? Oh, cherry.
Yes, exactly, cherry. So I worked for all those for several years, and I have to say that was the golden era of those magazines really paying money. I didn't do it because I love drawing this stuff. It at a certain point it becomes kind of boring. But the page rate was, comics never paid those kind of page rates. Right. So anyway, I stayed in the sewer probably longer than I should have. But then I had all this inventory, and then the black and white adult comics boom came, the Eros comics era.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had all this stuff, and I was like, okay, I really want to have a solo comic. I'm always contributing to these things, but so they ended up collecting some of the work into comics, and that gave it a second life. But then at a certain point, it was like, okay, my reputation is just like, oh, you're the creep who draws all the dirty comics. So,
but I mean, that's one of the things I liked about your work was like with minimum wage, like you weren't afraid to have, sex and nudity, and it wasn't pornographic in the sense that you had these fully developed characters in your book engaging in what all human beings engage in. You know what I mean? It was, but as a younger guy, I guess seeing those, it was still exciting and titillating to be like, this is a cool, well-written and well-drawn book, but there's also tits and ass in it and sex. And I'm a pervert and I like all that stuff,
Yeah. I mean, like in a lot of ways, skipping ahead, yeah, minimum wage was my reward for time served.
Right.
Because I really didn't ever do a comic that was actually meaningful to me. I did a lot of stuff that I enjoyed doing, and I at that point had worked for heavy metal, and I did a story in heavy metal that ended up selling a longer version of it to Dark Horse. So that was my first solo series that I was actually
What
kind
was the name of that?
It was called White Like She,
Okay.
and it was about
yeah.
it was about a brain transplant operation where a middle-aged African American guy who gets caught during a nuclear meltdown ends up having his brain transplanted into the body of a white teenage girl. And looking back on it, the art style is one that I'm not particularly comfortable with, and it's a little kind of at times preachier than I would like. My writing chops were not as subtle as they could have been, but I still think it's pretty. It's, if anything, it's got so much relevant stuff in it because it does deal with racial issues, gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it in 1993, so it's, in a way, I'm sorry, it's still as relevant as it is.
Right.
But it kind of led that sort of gave me a little bit more legitimacy than I had to be able to sell something like minimum wage, where I got to do something really personal and and do something where, as you said, Jim, it wasn't gratuitous. It was actually part of the fabric of the story and who these characters are, and
Oh yeah. And man, I don't want to skip out on minimum wage, but I don't want to forget this, but while we're talking about Dark Horse, you wrote a series that me and Sean, our homeboy Tommy Lee Edwards, illustrated. That zombie, was it Zombie World?
Zombie World.
Yeah, we
you wrote a series with him that he illustrated.
Yeah, we did a 4-issue series called Winter's Dregs.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was great. Tommy, he actually came up to New York and he shot a ton of reference. And he did a beautiful job.
He's so good.
It's funny though, I had even said to him at the time, I said, you didn't see enough old Jews when you were here though. There's 2 older Jewish guy characters in the book who are like garment workers, and I thought, man, this guy's a little too handsome and healthy looking. Everyone here should just look like a withered prune, but no, he did beautiful work. I'm being a bit facetious here.
Those are Sean's relatives you're talking about. Those are Sean's
hey, there you go.
East Coast Jewish people.
Exactly. My relatives were in food, Jim. I know that's hard to believe, but my grandfather drove meat to all the delis. And
this is shocking. This is shocking that you're saying.
My other uncle ran a bakery. If you can believe these things,
these are heroes.
Yeah, I mean they molded me. So our family reunions in Queens were the most amazing food fests of all time. The dessert trays, the deli spreads, just incredible.
Oh, dude, I'm sure it's
yeah, I'm not nostalgic about New York, but I do miss some of the deli options there were pretty good.
Yeah, Jim and I, every year we hit Cats. We gotta hit Cats every year we're in New York.
Got to do it. It's tradition. You know the people though. The right place to sit and all that.
Yeah.
Right place to sit. Yeah, don't sit under the air conditioner. You'll get dripped on.
There you go.
I don't know what it is, but they always have a leaky air conditioner.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Survival tips. You don't want that gray water hitting your, pastrami on rye.
Oh god, yeah.
You know, get an emergency visit to get your stomach pumped.
Not good.
Bob,
And
that
yeah,
was
man.
great. That drawing.
Oh,
is
dude.
incredible.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
I know, incredible.
Are you a fast cartoonist, man? You're
Moderately fast.
Yeah. So with Printopia, how what was the turnaround on that? Was that something you started kind of on your own and pitched it to Eli, or
no, that
was that something
that one has a long hang time on it because I had actually started it. You know, I moved from New York. I lived in New York my whole life, up until late 2017. But I had started that book back in New York in 2012, and I did 24 pages as kind of a sample when I was thinking maybe it would be, serialized as a comic or something, and ended up shelving it for a variety of reasons that I can't even remember anymore.
Right.
And then when I got myself settled in here, and I was working for Mad when I first got out here, but it never left my mind. It was like, oh, that Printopia thing. I think part of it was I had only written those first 24 pages, and I hadn't really worked out, like, what is the arc of this thing? And so I finally sat down and wrote the rest of the script. And I also, looking at the work that I had done all those years earlier, I was like, I can fix some things. I can make it a little better. So I whipped it all into shape. And then it was like, okay, this thing needs a home. And yep. I met Eli at the Los Angeles Comic Con.
Oh yeah, sure.
He was tabled next to Shelley and Philip Bond.
Oh yeah.
And so Shelley introduced me. She's like, "Oh, this is our table neighbor, Eli." And I thought, oh, he seems like a nice guy, and kept his name in my head. And then so yeah, but whatever it was, maybe almost a year later, reached out, and the rest is history.
Nice. Yeah, I've known Eli for many years. He's just a good guy and super passionate about art and music, and his heart's just in the right place when it comes to making stuff and working with artists. And we've always just kind of stayed in touch with each other, and when we can hang out and see each other at conventions or whatever, we'll catch up and everything. But yeah, I like what he's doing with his label, and man, the printing and the presentation of the book is I'm gonna grab it real quick.
Let's look at it.
The presentation and the printing, it's an oversized hardcover. It's got a really
really big.
It's got a really great smell to it. Like the printing of it, like when I got it, it was
dude, that cartooning is just fantastic.
It's great, man.
And Sean, it is infused with my own musk, so
it's like a macho lavender. Yeah,
exactly.
But Sean, we follow this character Darla, who works at a print shop in New York, and it's brilliant because all the different weird characters that come into the print shop to have things made, we eventually get to see them off on their own little side stories of who they really are. And then their like imaginary friend will show up, and
I'm reading this.
We get this view of the character plus their imaginary friend, and it's hilarious, and no one is safe because Bob is just sort of equally poking fun of all kind of
Awesome.
subgenres of people. You know what I mean?
Love it. Love it.
The
artwork
and
is
so well
incredible.
drawn, man.
So Bob, is it graphite and ink you're using, or is it ink wash?
Actually, it's my tools of choice are so these days are so kind of cheap. But there's something comfortable. That whole book was drawn with color race.
Yeah.
They profess to be erasable. We all know that's not true.
Right.
But the whole book was drawn with purple color race, and then digitally, I do the color that way. But everything's drawn, traditionally with color race pencils.
And Bob, what size are you working on for the originals? Is it?
They're mostly the way that book was done is it's mostly either half pages. That's a thing I learned from the French comic artists, is because a lot of them worked really big, so they would do their half pages, top 2 panels, bottom 2 panels. And then eventually it just became doing individual panels on pages. Every drawing was just its own thing, and then just assembling them. So yeah, they're however many panels in this book, there are that many originals. So that's actually my favorite segment in the book, because that was just so fun to draw.
I was just gonna point that out. This is my favorite character, the underground cartoonist, and then his little imaginary friend is this weird superhero guy. But also in the backgrounds of these panels, you have like Charles Burns' character from his book.
I think there are
Peter Bag shout outs.
Yeah, I think there are 14 shout outs, little Easter eggs in that one.
Dude, there's Dan Pussy. There's Dan Pussy. Look at him back there.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And there's
that one's got a bunch. That panel, I think, has 4 different references in it. Because you've got George Gross, who was not a cartoonist per se, but a German artist who did a lot of social commentary. You've got Gregor the Purple Ass Baboon by Greg Irons, underground comic guy. Right. You've got in the car right next to him, you've got the Aesop brothers from my personal hero, Charles Rodriguez.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of things in that. On the opposite page, you've got 2 Ralph Bakshi characters.
I was just gonna say the Bakshi girls from what?
Heavy Traffic.
Or something?
I think Heavy Traffic.
Heavy Traffic, yes.
It's so good, man.
That segment was really a blast, and it was kind of like, I should probably do more stuff like this where the backgrounds are a little bit expressionistic and all that. It was very fun.
This is my favorite character, man. And then the other brilliant thing, without spoil, is it okay to show her journal entries of the book ends, and then we get Darla's. We get Darla's reviews of the zines and books that are being made at the print shop. So
awesome.
I love this image so much, dude. This drawing is fantastic. And then you get Darla's little criticism, and not criticism, but sort of praise and awe of all the weird shit that's being made. And then, dude, this is just straight. This is this guy's underground comic, but it's drawn by you, obviously.
Yeah,
this is brilliant, man. This is.
I kind of want to do a whole comic just as Patches Zamora. You
should.
I want to do an issue of Fisto, his superhero.
Because, dude, this style, I love this so much. And what's this giant fat cat jumping in the background here?
I don't know. It was just everything here was just sort of. I won't say stream of consciousness, but it was. I kind of got out of my own way. That was very liberating, because I'm a guy who definitely gets in his own way creatively sometimes. But with this, it was just just draw the, I had a script written, but it was kind of just let it happen. So it's not precious, it's just.
It's great, man. I feel
that was really fun to do.
This fat cat might be its own character or something.
Yeah.
And then, dude, this cracked me up. The guy who's obsessed with like fantasy and D&D, like this is the cover of his book with like the naked sorcerer, like warrior girl.
And that was hard. Those were hard to do. It's hard to draw wrong.
Yes. Oh, and these drawings you did this is awesome, man.
Oh my god, those.
That's so.
It's hilarious.
The rear section of the book was a blast to do because got to write in different styles and yeah.
And then you have this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Someone just ordered the book as we were sitting here flipping through it. That's great. Chuck.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Chuck.
you, Chuck.
Nice, man.
That makes me happy. I hope Chuck enjoys it.
Yeah, the book is beautiful. I just read it in the last week. It's hilarious. And I told you on the phone, man, I think you and Peter Bagg are sort of the undisputed champs of dissecting and making fun of pop culture, but it's also, you can tell that you actually love pop culture in a way. You know, you love it enough to make fun of it, you know.
Yeah. And and the thing is, it's like all the characters in that book, maybe with the exception of the like white supremacist who writes cosmic horror. He's, you have to have kind of one villain in a book. But I have, great empathy for all of those characters. They're all following their muses and doing their thing. And I mean, that's the thing. It's like Darla, the character, she's wrestling with her own issues and imposter syndrome and all that. And, I'm not going to give away her arc in the book, but I think, I think it's a book certainly that anybody creative is going to find a lot to relate to. So
yes. Yeah. And man, I was having zines and mini comics printed at print shops in like the mid and late 90s. And so that's its own world. That's its own thing that I don't know if younger cartoonists got to experience but I definitely had my view of that world and the people that are would work at those kind of establishments, and it was funny because I became friends with like the late night shift guys at a copy shop when I lived in Arizona, and they would print my zines and minis for me, and I would bring them like beer and donuts at night, and they would give me these crazy discount deals, or sometimes they would just print an entire run for me for free off the record. Yep. Like you could get away with stuff back then. Like things weren't all monitored and accounted for. I mean, now I'm assuming you can't do that, but back in the 90s, shit was looser. You could get away with making stuff for free.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the character Darla is kind of loosely based on a friend I made at a copy shop. She.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
She was a really colorful character. I mean, more colorful than Darla. But she kind of provided some of the inspiration for that type, because she also was the one who basically let me know, if you're going there and making copies of stuff, if it's anything even remotely interesting or cool, they make copies of your stuff for themselves. So,
oh, right.
Oh, okay. Right. Now I know, because I was working for all those men's magazines back then, and she once said, oh yeah, I've kept copies of all of your stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of flattering in a sort of violating me way. So.
Right.
So, but the thing is, then when somebody violates your trust like that, if they're a certain kind of person, you get free copies for forever. So it all works out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's I made the mistake once of running a photo in the back of one of my zines of the guys that worked at the print shop, saying, shout outs to Jeff and Joey. Thanks for helping me rip off such and such establishment.
Oh, no.
And Joey printed the book and was stoned and did not see this. And then the next time I saw Jeff, Jeff came up to me and was like, dude, are you fucking crazy? You put a photo of me and Joey in the book. He's like, luckily I worked the morning shift, came in, got the books after Joey had finished printing them, and I collated and stapled all of them. But he was like, I shit my pants when I saw that image was in the book.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I guess we can use this at the unemployment office to say, why did you lose your job?
Yeah. That's how big of an idiot I was.
Yeah, your heart was in the right place.
It was the punk thing to do. It was like,
yeah,
we're ripping this place off, and I'm going to acknowledge that in the book that is being made at the place that we're ripping off.
Right.
It's like, man.
Yeah, nice job. Nice job.
And before we started the show, another thing I definitely wanted to talk to you about, if you're cool with it, is the Garbage Pail Kids Art Spiegelman connection.
Oh, yeah, that's much more, in a way, much more tenuous than Kurtzman or Eisner. As I say, I missed the boat on getting to take Spiegelman's class. You know, my best friend, he had it, and I was very envious because I was like, oh man, that sounds like a great class, and that would have been really cool. And the other thing is, Spiegelman was just starting Raw magazine in those days.
Oh yeah,
wow, yeah,
of course.
And you know, a lot of the people who occupied the pages were students. You know, they ended up again kind of getting discovered. You know, if you've got anyone who shows any kind of potential who's a student, you know, it's like, okay, so anyway, I kind of felt like I missed a boat with that one, but because of working for Cracked, I ended up working for Topps Bubblegum when they were still situated in a thing called, I think, City of Industry or Industry City, down in the Brooklyn waterfront.
Oh yes, they talk about that in the Garbage Pail Kids documentary.
Yeah, I mean, again, these are those things about bygone New York where you don't necessarily know you're lucky at the time, but when you look back, you're like, oh man, that was cool. I'm glad I got to work for places that were in really colorful locations. Because the thing with Topps is it was in this big kind of factory building. You know, you had to go in through a loading dock, which wasn't usually how publishing worked. And, you know, they had several floors. I remember on the walk from the subway, there was an artificial flavor lab that I don't think was connected with Topps.
Whoa.
When you were walking by it, you'd smell like, oh, they're making fake grape, or oh, they're making fake cherry.
My God.
You get this like really strong smell in the air of fake but completely recognizable fruit flavors. So it was literally like a flavorful trip when you would go there. But you know, my painting chops weren't really up to snuff yet. I mean, you know, I was, do the math. I think I was 22 years old, so you know, pretty young.
Yeah.
But I was good. You know, I did a tryout card for the front of Garbage Pail Kids. I don't remember what series it was. It was already well established at that point. It might have been like even series 7 or series 8.
Oh damn! Okay,
they were really, you know, they were grinding them out on a pretty breakneck schedule, and so like I did some of the backs of the cards, but I don't really. I put out a book here. I'll plug my other book that hopefully some people will order. but I did this book last year. That's Some Business You're In, which is what my dad said to me every single time I told him about my work. He would always shake his head and say, "That's some business you're in."
Right.
There's Harvey.
Oh,
right
wow. There's Harvey.
Nice.
And kind of a cavalcade of the characters I did over the years. The other job I did kind of starting my career was I did official parodies of the Italian comic strip Rank-Xerox.
Shit.
The European market. None of that stuff ever was printed in the States, but for the European market, I did this strip called Wank-Xerox. Anyway, so this book actually covers a lot of this ground. It's really, if I do say so myself, it's a nicely produced trip through my entire career.
Shit, man, that looks awesome. Who published that?
This was okay, here we go. This is very on topic because that was
Cracked.
For Cracked magazine for their spoof of Garbage Pail Kids, Garbage Ale Kid with their gross character.
That David Letterman is incredible.
Wow.
Cracked was good because again, that gave me a chance to, since I was so young, I was experimenting with a lot of different approaches. This was a strip actually written by Peter Bagg that I drew for Cracked.
Damn. That looks awesome, man.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wow.
It was a one-off. We were going to try to make it a monthly strip, and for whatever reason, it only ran once. And I think maybe it's because in 1986, computers were still too new. Like, nobody's late to it. So, but yeah, so this book has pretty much points from every part of my.
Was that Lemmy? I think you just had. There was
Bob. We were in that same Lemmy book together. No Remorse book. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and Weird Al. So
damn good, man.
Anyway, so this book, for anyone who's at all interested in kind of a big art book of my career. And it's also actually, if I do say so myself, it's a good read because it really is a window into just the history of working for all these kind of publications. But this was a crowdfunded book.
Oh, nice.
Done through the platform. Give them a shout out.
That was the Zoop. That's your Zoop book.
Zoop. And those guys are really good guys. And Eric and Jordan, and I was really happy with the production value on that book. It printed great, feels high quality. So there aren't a ton of copies left in the wilderness, but they do have some copies available at zoop.gg.
Okay.
I'm going to email Jordan after this.
I'm going to be getting one of those this evening. I wanted to ask you, man, before I forget, because you showed that.
Just quickly, Jim, sorry, before you go, I
put
a link in the chat to Bud's art books that have that book in stock. If anyone wants to pick it up.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, if we can do very specific plugs, Stuart Eng, who's got an incredible, absolutely incredible collection of every kind of comic you would ever want, especially the European stuff. He has a bunch of copies that I sketched in every single copy. So
oh damn, man, that's awesome.
So yeah, there are a bunch of full color cartoony self portraits in each copy he's got. So yeah, if anybody wants to throw some orders Stuart's way, he's a really good dude, and he's got the ones that have heart in them.
I just put
Brandon Graham
in the chat as well. If anyone wants.
Brandon Graham is in our chat. What's up, Brandon? Good to have you here,
Brandon.
Yes.
Brandon's great.
Yeah, Brandon's amazing.
Amazing. Oh, Bob. So what I wanted to say was when you were showing the Cracked stuff from your art book, the full color illustration you did of the Cracked kid, the main kid.
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing your full color stuff, is that like what media is that?
Well, back in those days, it was acrylic.
Were you doing it? Okay. Were you airbrush guy at
Yeah.
all, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, again, pre-digital era. If you wanted to have a nice smooth tone, get out the frisket and the airbrush.
Yep. Oh my god, I remember doing that.
Yeah, the only
Bob, I am blown away. You like the way you draw is blowing my mind because you just throw it down. You don't like build and construct. You just every line you put down is right where it needs to be. It's amazing.
Well, it's very kind of you.
Hell yeah, man.
I wish
I've been sitting here watching it like, what the hell is he doing? It's amazing.
And he's rocking the Inkpulp Live T-shirt, man.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Goddamn right he is.
It's beautiful.
That's amazing. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, this is fun, man.
Jamie, can we just real quick get a check on the Kickstarter numbers? See if we're driving that up at all.
We are at 156 right now.
Oh, all right, guys. If we get 19 more, right? Yeah, 19 more. I'm gonna give away this R. Crumb inspired Fritz the Cat drawing.
Hell yeah.
Free.
Oh damn, man.
The link is in the description.
Yeah, see, I can flex.
Sean, you're slightly out of focus. Can you?
It's my webcam. It's just
okay.
It's because it's so close. I can zoom out and it'll be better. I can zoom out and it'll be clear. It's a webcam, so
yeah, I know. We all need to like upgrade our equipment at some point.
Yeah.
Sean's OnlyFans subscribers have been complaining. I'm just gonna.
It's true. It's true.
The twerking with Sean channel too blurry. Sorry,
Bob, don't encourage him because he will actually. That will become a thing. That will. That will exist.
Dr. Pulpenstein's
viewers. Come on, man. That's how you put butts in seats.
That's for Inkpulp After Hours. That's our other show that we're going to be doing.
Oh, I've got a smoking jacket, so please,
I'll
come on with a tasty mixed beverage, a delicious cocktail. They don't call me Make Mine Manhattan Fingerman for nothing.
Oh shit! Okay.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Man, during the minimum wage like Fantagraphics era, were you ever like on tour or at signings with Dan Klaus, Hernandez Brothers? Like, I'm assuming you know all those guys.
Yes, I'm only laughing because yes, I existed in the shadow of giants. Yeah, it's a very humbling thing when you're doing a signing next to Gilbert and Jaime or Dan, and it's like there's a long line, and occasionally somebody there is for you, as opposed to just putting their like, duffel bag on top of your originals because you.
Yeah, I've been there.
So yeah,
yeah.
But it's hard to get mad because it's like, well, yeah, if I wasn't signing here, I'd be on that line too. So.
Right.
But so yeah, Comic Cons can be a very humbling trial by fire.
Oh yeah, man. But Bob, are you friends with? Oh damn!
Come on, unblur.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Bob, were you friends with Bob Shrek? You know Shrek, right?
Oh, yeah. Shrek was my editor on a very limited series I did for Dark Horse called Otis Goes Hollywood, which was
nice. Okay.
But yeah, actually, he when he was at Vertigo, he tried to get a couple of series I pitched at him going, but Karen never bit on anything I ever pitched them.
Oh shit. Okay. I just brought him up because I'm assuming in the late 90s, early 2000s, you and I were probably at like some of the same parties where Shrek was presiding and doing his thing. And because he's the one who kind of got me in, he gave me my first couple big breaks with everything.
And it's why you're now a lifelong Jethro Tull fan.
I've had these.
Don't get a kidder.
I've had these discussions with Bob about Tull, and I don't dislike Tull. I haven't done the deep dive, and he's tried to like steer me in the direction of some of the stuff. And I mean, I get it, but it's also, I just think you had to be there for like his era of, and he was in a Jethro Tull cover band, so he is a hardcore like Tull head or whatever you call it.
What do you call Tull bands?
I don't know. But he knows that I'm more on the like I'm a funk guy, like a 60s and 70s funk guy. So when it comes to like big bands and 4-hour long live shows, I'm like, okay, Bob, my band for that is Funkadelic and Parliament. That's my shit. So when you play me Tull, like to me, it seems like it's music for white people or something. I don't know. I just need a bit more funk. You know what I'm saying, Bob? I need a bit more funk.
I do. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I'm so choky here. That the first thing I did for heavy metal, the story was named for a George Clinton song, because my first story for them, which ended up becoming White Like She, was called Double Uh-Oh.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah. And it's funny because I had some of the same chats, I think, with Eli Schwab in regards to like Fish, because I just never got on the. I went to art school with people that were obsessed with Fish, and I'm open-minded. I tried to give it a chance, and I'm like, man, I just don't know. I just don't know if I can do it.
I can't do the Dead. I can't do Fish.
And I'm more in the probably the punk metal end of the spectrum.
Yeah. So when you were making comics and when you work currently, like, are you more of you're a music guy or?
These days it's mostly podcast type stuff.
Okay.
I like to just, especially more comedy related type stuff, just because it's like, again, the world's a heavy place, so give me a laugh.
Sure. Oh yeah. During the, I guess, minimum wage era, like I guess with Peter Bagg, I just had visions of him just sitting around and listening to like, rock and roll and stuff while he's making Hate. Did you have a soundtrack for what you were doing?
Oh yeah. I mean, again, well, there was a lot of metal. It's funny, when I brought minimum wage back, when I did the new run of it for Image, in, what was that, 2014, 2015, I gave the character Rob tons of metal t-shirts, because it was just like, metal doesn't represent very often, especially in indie comics. For some reason, I think people look at people that like metal as being complete lunkheads.
Right.
Well, I like metal and I'm not a lunkhead, so let me let my guy represent. So give him some shirts, and I even gave him shirts for bands I don't necessarily like, but it was like, yeah, you know what? I think Rob would dig those bands. So, but yeah, that stuff. But I don't listen to just one kind of thing. I don't like to limit myself. I'll put on some nice jazz from time to time.
Right. I'm the same way. It's funny though, man, because I feel like indie comics now, it's more of like an emo aesthetic or something. And when I was doing my thing in art school and stuff, we were all into, like I said, funk, but also hip hop. Like hip hop was really good at the time.
Oh yeah.
Every album was so fresh. In like 93, you had Wu-Tang, you had Nas's first record, so that became almost our version of punk at the time. Was hip hop in a way, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, I was listening to that stuff. I guess more probably in the 80s.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, it was at that point in my life. I wasn't listening to that much metal. It was punk, listening to lots of punk and hardcore. Because I've never been a scene guy, but the only scene I ever kind of was at least somewhat involved in was the New York hardcore scene.
So Bob, with that in mind, were you a big Cro-Mags fan?
Well, see, it's funny you should mention that because their guitarist was one of my buddies in high school.
Oh wow!
Back in those days, he was Kevin Mayhew before, because his real name's Paris Mayhew. But I guess again, when you're a teenager, you don't realize you've been given a gift having a cool name like Paris. So,
right.
But yeah, Kevin and this other guy, Sean, were my they were like Virgil to my Dante, and taking me down into the downtown scene, because I was this Queens kid and they were both Manhattan kids, so they had a very they were a little ahead of the what is cool curve, and
right.
they were buddies with the Beastie Boys back when Beastie Boys were a 4-piece hardcore band, and
right.
so I was right in there buying their first 7-inch multi-song Egg Raid on Mojo and all that kind of stuff.
Oh God, amazing! Did you see the documentary on Harley from the Cro-Mags?
I have not seen it. I should see it, but but a bunch of Cro-Mags shows, they were always a little bit scary, but
yeah, I'd imagine so. I'd imagine so.
Yeah, actually, Paris has a band now called Agros, which is just instrumental metal. It's really good.
Oh wow!
So
that's interesting.
He, I hadn't been in touch with him for literally decades, and then I don't remember why I reached out to him, or he reached out to me, or something. But I found out he's like a big director of photography for. Yeah, I think. Trying to remember, did I see his name in the credits? There's a show called Evil, and sure enough, there was like Paris Mayhew as their DP, and I thought, oh
damn,
look at that. So anyway, so he's still rocking out. Rock's keeping him young. So I was like, damn, he looks good.
Wow.
So yeah. Anyway, so funny coincidence that you should mention literally the only band in that scene that I had any kind of personal connection to.
They were my favorite always.
Well,
Jim, go ahead, Bob.
Well, I was just going to say the other band that I loved to see, and I think they are incredible. I still listen to them all the time. Was Lunatics. They were underappreciated because it's a boys' club, but they rocked as hard as anybody. And they were also funny and really smart. Like their lyrics were great, and they put on a great show. And there's a documentary about them, but I still haven't had a chance to see it. But anyway,
nice.
Jim, I was going to say our friend Lauren, I believe is in Australia, is currently finishing an indie comic based on metal.
Oh, nice! That's awesome.
And Lauren does amazing work.
She's great. Yeah, make sure you let us know when that is done and available, and we will.
What's her whole name?
Lauren Marshall.
Lauren Marshall. Keep an eye out.
Super solid work.
Yeah, really nice work. Lauren does great stuff. Oh, Dean Haspiel went to college with the Lunatics.
Which ones? There's more than one.
When did you meet Dean? Have you guys known each other forever?
Yeah, it's going on 30 years. So
yeah,
that's a
Bob. What pencil are you using there? It's so dark.
Yeah. These things are great. It's like the densest. It's like that, that paint that absorbs all light.
Yeah, is that the 10B from Mitsubishi?
Oh wait, again, sorry about the camera stuff. It is the Statler Mars Lumograph Black.
Okay, wow. I think it's dark, man.
This is the pencil. The only other tool really that I used in Printopia. This is what I drew all the Patches Zamora sequence with, and his comic pages, because it's just this crazy dense black. It's a little squeaky, so I apologize for like occasionally.
No, I love that. I love
the sound is just like making people grit their teeth.
It's the sound of art being made right there.
Yeah, but I like it.
I discovered these pencils, I guess, during making Printopia, because it was like, okay, I want to find something that feels like really old world to draw with. Like this feels like, I don't know, something like Albrecht Dürer or somebody.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right.
And it is, it's insanely black. It's probably smudgy. I don't know. I'm being pretty good about not smudging today, but
that's great. It's really great.
It has such a character, man. It's like,
yeah. Lauren said the comic is called Maurice and the Metal. There's 3 issues out already, but she's taking over from issue 4. So she's starting with issue 4.
Okay, cool.
Oh, Eric, what up, Eric? Thank you, Eric. I was telling everyone here, my Fritz the Cat sketch card I drew on the show tonight is free if we can get the pre-launch page up to 175 people today, day 2. So, yeah, hopefully we can get some more people up in there.
Eric Canete.
And Dean Haspiel said he remembers Gina Volpe from the Lunatics. That's who he is.
Gina's the only, Gina and Cindy are the only ones that I really am in touch with at all. Gina's also a really great artist. She,
nice.
You want to be mad when you want to do art for a band, but one of the members does the art, but you can't get too mad when it's like, okay, it's her band. She should do the art.
Oh, yeah.
Dean says you guys met when he drew a backup in 95 for minimum wage?
Well, that's not how we met. See, he doesn't want to show that he exposed his soft white underbelly to me, but he started off by sending me fan art and some fan letters, I should say, and some of his earlier self-published comics, and I thought, this guy, this is fun stuff, and he's on a wavelength I'm enjoying, because he was doing sort of autobiographical things and all that, and he remembers our disastrous almost first meeting better than I do, but I never remember the details right.
Oh, was there like an awkward?
Then he let me be his friend. That's right. I let him. That's just the kind of guy I am. I was like, okay, you can come in the club, and if you don't piss in the corners, you can stay. Come in the corners anyway, but he charmed me. So,
okay, I'm thinking we need we need to have a show where Dean and Bob are on at the same time. And Sean, you and I won't talk for 2 hours. We can just let the two
just let them go.
We'll let the 2 New York guys just talk and tell incredible stories.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Ooh,
Jim, you're crushing that, man.
I'm going full crazy.
That looks amazing.
Bob, what do you think? Darla and Monstrous Fritz.
I love it. I love it.
Weird.
Does she have a mechanical hand, or is that just
it's just me not being able to draw hands very well, and she's wearing like a
fingerless glove
with a ring.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just me drawing claw hands on what should be feminine hand. It's more of a I know what it is, Bob. Her hand is grizzled and chiseled from running those print machines
there you go.
So that's my excuse.
It's an industry term called printer's claw. So
there you go. Thank you.
Everyone gets it eventually.
Everyone knows that term. Yeah. There you go.
Well, yes, you should have Dean on the show. Dean is He's a good dude, and he's a garrulous fella, so he'll fill up the airwaves with yammering just like I do.
Oh, we're doing it. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Get these chatty New Yorkers who are so full of themselves, and then once the show's over, they feel nothing but self-hatred. So there you go. Oh, a little truth bomb.
Hey,
A little truth bomb in there.
it's okay. It's okay.
Why
Sean's
did
from
I
the East
say
Coast.
that?
Sean's
Why did I-
originally.
East Coast. Jim,
I
I've
was
been
gonna
having
say, I don't hear a lot of Georgia in that voice.
No, I'm not a Georgia boy. I'm a New York Jew to the bone.
And how did you end up in Georgia, sir? If I
Well,
may ask.
my parents moved down to DC when I was like a baby. My dad was going to law school at GW, and so we grew up outside of DC in Columbia. So my teen years, my younger teen years were spent in the hardcore scene in DC. And when I went to grad school in Savannah, and then I got a job in Atlanta teaching out of Savannah. So that's what brought me down to the South.
Gotcha. So you were going to like Fugazi shows and stuff.
Yeah, I was telling this story last week. You'll love this one.
Did you ever see Minor Threat?
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's when I was in it. When I was older when Fugazi came out. Not a lot older, but Fugazi played my high school in the gymnasium. So my brother was a couple years younger than me, and he was they were into the hardcore scene. Like they were the younger brothers, and I was friends with his friends' older brothers, and they somehow, like, Minor Threat was done, and Ian was forming the new band, and they got them to play like one of their first concerts in our high school gymnasium, which is crazy now that I think about it.
Yeah, that's a very Ian Mackay thing to do.
Yeah,
Wild.
So yeah, when I was skating around DC and seeing shows, it was like Minor Threat.
Did you ever see the Meatmen?
I did not see the Meatmen.
Meatmen were great. They were hilarious.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know if I've heard of those guys. What?
I guess
that's DC.
Yep. I think their first record was "We're the Meatmen and You Suck."
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I remember that.
But they kind of began to veer into metal a little bit, and they did an album called Rock and Roll Juggernaut, which is a pretty great album. Really solid songs, but also funny. But their guitarist, Brian Baker, ended up becoming a really very in-demand. Trying to remember what metal bands he played in, but really good musician. You couldn't say that necessarily for all of the bands on that scene, but Meatmen had a really solid musical aspect, and their front man, a guy named Tesco V. Actually, I'm going to lean over here into my tchotchkes, and here's my Tesco V.
Oh, nice.
Little bobblehead.
Hell
the
yeah.
Tesco V was an incredibly funny, front man for the band. They had real showmanship. So yeah, there's my really ancient recommendation for anyone if they want to listen to some.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember that my friend was into them. I remember that record. Dude, West Coast Dave just asked if I hung out with Dave Grohl when I was young and did not mention it. So I assume you're referring to his days of being in the Germs.
Well, he was also in Dane Bramage.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't see any of those bands. No. So to answer your question, Dave, no, I did not.
My friend Ruben was in the band Dane Bramage with Dave Grohl.
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Back in the day.
Bob, were you going to Seattle often in the 90s when
Nope.
Fantagraphics was doing its thing and seeing all that stuff go down, or was that not?
Nope. I only ever
Yeah.
went there once.
Oh,
Let me test my memory here. In '97, I came for a visit. And yeah, their office was was kind of, I didn't know what to expect, but it was very much like the Animal House, kind of rundown, just row house. But when you went inside, it was just like, yeah, this is legit, because it just reeked of comics.
yes. I've been to their office. I'm wondering if it's the same.
It's the
'Cause
same.
it's literally just a house.
Yep.
And I went there with Brandon Graham actually because he knows Eric Reynolds well. So when I was living in Portland, Brandon and I went with these girls we were dating. We did a road trip from Portland to Seattle and visited the Fantagraphics house and went through all their crazy archives where you can just open up a flat file drawer and there's some like Vaughn Bodie original art in there and some
shit.
Hernandez original stuff. And I'm just like, do they know what they have in here? This is a treasure trove of original art. And I'm sure they know what they have, but it was just kind of mind blowing to see it all in one place.
Yeah. There's a lot of history in those walls.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then in the basement is like Gary Groth and I believe Kim Thompson's comic book collections. So there's just shelves full of long boxes of books. And we went down there and Eric, I think, was like, yeah, there's basically an entire run of every single Marvel title from like 1960 to 1969 here, because those guys both collected all of that shit. So it's all intact in the basement.
Yeah. It's
pretty crazy.
It really, like, at a certain point should just be a museum.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that you could charge people, or at least cartoonists, to go in there and hang out and go through the archives.
Right. Like a petting zoo.
Right.
Welcome to the Fantagraphics petting zoo. For
Yeah.
$10 more, you can scratch Gary under his chin, and
there you go.
Everyone.
And they have then they have a separate retail space. They have like an actual store that I feel like it's pretty close to their office, right?
Oh, I think so. I think it's like right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't spent a whole lot of time in the Pacific Northwest, to be honest.
Yeah, it's funny. Brandon is commenting about that trip. I remember at some point there was a shirtless poster-sized photo of Groth hung on the ceiling that was used as art reference for their Eros book, Up from Bondage.
Oh my God.
I don't remember that at all. That's hilarious.
No.
Now, hold on. I got to get with West Coast Dave. Dude, Dave Grohl definitely was in the Germs for a period. He's trying to tell me. I know Pat was in the Germs, but so was Dave Grohl for a period.
Is that a definite?
I am almost positive. Maybe he's right.
Yeah, there was a lot of cross-pollination, even if people just kind of sat in every so often.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. But Dave's yelling at me. He was in Scream. I know that, but I thought he was in the Germs too. I know Pat was in the Germs.
Oh, yeah. Things were loose back then, Sean. You never know.
Yeah.
Circle Jerks was one of my favorites.
Yeah, Wonderful was one of my favorite records from that era. I loved Wonderful. It's funny, I got my daughter into that when she was like 15, she loved that album. Wonderful. She still draws the Circle Jerks, that logo cartoon guy.
By the
nice.
great Sean Carey. Sean Carey to me is the maybe most unsung comic artist in history. And, Sean was a she doing some of the most ballsy comics. Not a lot of women were drawing the kind of stuff that she drew. She did a lot of work for, remember the magazine Cartoons? All hot rod.
Of course.
Yeah,
I've
of course.
those.
Of course.
They're great.
Yeah, well, Sean did a ton of work for them. And, just the most gearhead, perfect looking stuff you've ever seen. And she could paint like mad. She actually was the person who kind of got me painting with opaque medium instead of like watercolor and stuff, because she was a big gouache user, and I never quite got the hang of gouache.
Right.
But she was sort of post the real era of underground comics, but she was doing stuff for Last Gasp, like Cocaine Comics and
Oh, sure.
what was it called?
Published by
Comics from Mars.
Dude, Cocaine Comics was published by Leonardo DiCaprio's dad.
Yeah, exactly.
So random.
George DiCaprio, who's was
exactly.
definitely very involved in that scene.
So
I know,
random.
and I guess his son must have gotten the bug, because from what I understand, his son owns some pretty sweet Robert Williams paintings and Todd Shore paintings.
Yeah.
So that endears him to me. It's like, oh, good. That's a good thing to do with your money.
Leo bought a bunch of original art off of Jeff Darrow as well. Like he owns a bunch of Jeff's stuff, and I think a lot of Jeff's design work from the Matrix movies.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, do you remember at a San Diego Comic-Con, Leo was like walking around,
yes,
like, really, like buying art and shit. Yeah.
So, dude, so I guess the story is that Gaston, the guy who used to own Meltdown Comics on Sunset Boulevard in LA, he helicoptered with Gaston to San Diego. And my memory, because I was there one of the years he did that, and my memory was he was running around the floor before the convention center opened to the public, and he had a baseball cap on low, and people were Leonardo DiCaprio that just ran by, and he ran to Jeff Darrow's table and bought like, $10,000 of art, and then he ran over to whoever else and bought a shitload of art. But my understanding was he was just running around before the show started, and then once the doors opened, him and Gaston got out of there and like helicoptered back to LA or whatever. But yeah, he I guess would show up and buy really great originals from people. So
it was because we had, as pros, we had that like early admission badge.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was crazy.
Were you there?
There was a.
Oh shit! Is that real? Leo, a big chunk of his art collection got burned in the LA fires. Damn.
Oh, fuck.
Oh shit.
That's awful.
Shit. That sucks.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know what people lost in
the
fire as far as art, music. It's just,
dude, Andrew lost a lot of his original art that
I was just going to mention. It's awful. Absolutely awful. The irreplaceable stuff it's hard to hear about.
Yeah,
it's really, really awful. Jim, with we got about 5 minutes left on the show.
Yes. Damn, it went by fast. Holy shit.
Yeah, it really, that was amazing.
Bob crushed, like, what did you do, 10 pieces tonight, man?
I know. I'm sitting here just lost.
I thought I was a fast artist. I thought I was fast.
No, just 4.
These are tight drawings, man. These are
they're incredible. They're
these
incredible.
are awesome.
Well, it's fun. I don't usually draw other people's characters, so this is kind of neat to be able to get a little bit of my crumb on. I've never done it.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Badass, man. Oh, that's funny. Alex Fuentes said, Gaston used to sell me Faust when I was a kid. Of course he did. Of course he did.
That's amazing.
Well, it's always, that's the thing. Those adults that sold you the stuff you weren't supposed to have are really the adults that helped forge you, There was a guy who owned a great comic shop in Forest Hills, New York, called Little Nemo. And, I started going there regularly when I was in junior high school. And I will say when I was 14, I looked like I was 10 or 12.
Oh.
And he still sold me Slow Death and Mr. Natural and all the, underground comics I wanted because he could tell that I was like a true believer. He's
right.
Here, I'm going to grab from the shelf one of the touchstones of my life.
Please do.
All right, guys, with just a few minutes left, we didn't even get to 160, so I'll have to figure out something to do with this crumb drawing.
I was going to say, Sean, we've not ran the actual ad yet. If you want to run the Pulpenstein video.
Oh, we haven't run the video.
We didn't run the video.
Yeah, we should. Let's
shit.
Do that. Let's do that. After Bob shows what he's going to show.
If you're showing off Corbin, that's one of my favorite.
Oh, damn!
That's the mother load.
That's
this book,
mind melt.
Which hopefully, I don't know if you guys are monetized. I'll cover up the boobs. We don't want to get you in trouble. YouTube's cracking down these days, so I'm not even going to page through this. But this book, The Odd Comic World of Richard Corbin, which of all places, Warren published this, but completely uncensored underground comics. The irony being when years later, when Catalan put out their complete underground stuff, Corbin censored it. But that book absolutely flipped my switch. It was so raw. It was one of those great tween adolescent kind of moments where you buy something and then you think, oh my God, this is like too dirty and too adult for me to own.
Right.
And then you get all like, oh God, if I get caught with this. So I lived in an apartment building, city kid. And after going through it, I ended up throwing it down the incinerator chute.
Oh shit.
It was
really?
just like, I can't have this. It's too filthy. And
it was just too much for you.
Yeah, but then I became so consumed by regret and stuff. I was like, oh no. So I went back and I bought another copy. And I remember him saying, didn't you buy this? I was like, yeah, I lost it.
Oh, right.
So there you go, man. That's insecurity.
Yeah, but I mean, we're huge Corbin fans here, man. Like Corbin,
huge.
He is.
Oops.
One of the undisputed masters for sure. Yeah,
All right, you guys, cool if we run this commercial before we end the show?
Corbin and Mobius. My God.
Corbin and Mobius.
Mobius, definitely.
Yeah, Sean, go for it, dude.
All right, Jamie, hook it up, bro.
Man, concerned about the state of the art form, state of the craft.
Jim, what's up, brother? Look, don't worry. I've hired Dr. Pulpenstein. He's going to fix everything.
Dr. Pulpenstein?
Hello there, Jim. I am hard at work at the antidote of what ails our craft. I've given Sean the first dose.
First dose? Can you explain?
That's right, Jim. I got the first dose. I'm giving away my brand new sketchbook for free.
Free? Are you crazy?
Si, senor. It is correct. The first dose is Sean's free sketchbook.
We're doing like a Spanish thing now, I guess.
That's right. My new sketchbook, Inkpulp Magenta, is totally free. All you got to do is head over to my Kickstarter pre-launch page, which is for my new art book, Inkpulp Cyan. Enter your email, pledge at any tier level on the Inkpulp Cyan campaign, and you will get Inkpulp Magenta, the sketchbook, free PDF emailed to you.
Man, that is great, Sean.
See ya, Jim. Sean's newest sketchbook is totally free.
Okay, this is Italian now? Is that what's happening? Brandon commented, "The shock G
I saw that. It's
era
amazing. It's
of
amazing.
Inkpulp has begun." Oh my lord.
Jamie, so much props to you for getting that lab in there. I don't know how you did. That was amazing.
Wizardry, Sean. I'll never reveal it. I'll never tell my secrets.
I know. You shouldn't reveal. Don't tell me. I'm just saying that was incredible. So
good,
guys,
man.
please head over to my Jamie. We threw the link in the comments there. Let's
I'll do it.
get over there and let's get the notifications going.
Bob, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. This is awesome. So many
Well,
incredible stories. So much history. That's what we want. That's what we're here
Yeah,
for.
it was amazing.
Well, thank you.
I love it. Yeah, I love that we can document stuff like that. Like having someone on here that had a class with Kurtzman is incredible.
Yeah, it's
This was fun. I thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking at myself with you guys though, and I'm realizing maybe I shouldn't have shaved today. I feel really like I stand out like a naked sore thumb.
it's a problem when we're all together at a show. It's like guys with glasses and beards and
a look alike.
hoodies and I don't
I'm
know.
almost in that club. Almost.
Yeah. If you come to one of the shows, Jamie, we're gonna give you a bigger beard, fake beard.
I'll
to
wear
put
a
on.
prop beard. I'll wear a fake beard.
Yeah. Okay. As long as you're
we
clear.
are dressing up these days. We've got costumes and shit going on.
Guys, remember to pick up Printopia, Bob's
Absolutely.
incredible book, and his art book from Zoop, which what was it called again, Bob?
That's Some Business You're In.
That's Some Business You're In. And Bob, what's your socials? You're on Instagram?
Oh yeah,
I'm on Instagram, just Bob Fingerman. Can't miss it. Bob
Awesome.
Fingerman. That's about it. I have a very neglected public page on Facebook, but really all the energy goes into Instagram. And I just don't have the energy to start with Blue Sky or any of these. I'm running.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I know.
New platform.
Drumming up new audiences. So yeah, Instagram.
It's a lot.
Instagram's the best one anyway, because that's the one where I share tons of art that's unpublished art. So that's where
Sweet.
all the kind of stuff I enjoy doing just for my own. It's like all the portraiture and stuff that I do just to keep my hand in.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, Bob, thank you so much. This was incredible. Thank you.
Yes. Bob, stick around, and we're gonna log off here. But Sean, are we good? Anything we're missing?
I think we did it, man. Yeah, Bob,
you guys
just
sign up.
We're gonna
sign
end
up
this
for Sean's pre-launch page. Show the love,
please,
the support.
Oh, and I love the drawings you guys did. I was looking up throughout the show, so
thank you.
it was really fun to see you guys working.
Oh man, you crushed it. You did like 4 pieces.
You destroyed it, man. You destroyed it. It was amazing.
Yeah, this is awesome. You guys in the chat, thank you so much for joining us as always, and we will chat with you soon.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yes. Awesome, guys.
Good to go.
All right. Peace.
Take care.